The red alert siren wailed throughout the U.S. Defiant. Captain Alex Harrison grabbed his command chair as the ship stopped shaking. The journey through the experimental jump drive had been rougher than expected. "Status report," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. Lieutenant Commander Nathan Cooper at Tactical looked up from his console. "All systems coming back online, Captain. Shields at 87%. Weapons systems intact. Where are we?" Alex asked, looking at the unfamiliar star pattern on the main view screen. Science Officer Julia Bennett frowned at her readings. "Unknown, sir. These stars don't match any charted section in our database." Alex stood up and walked closer to the screen. The ship had been testing a new jump drive that should have taken them to the edge of explored space. Something had gone very wrong. "How far off course are we?" Julia shook her head. "I can't tell yet. None of our known navigation points are visible." Chief Engineer Olivia Martinez's voice came through the communication system. "Captain, the jump drive is offline. We experienced some kind of resonance cascade in the main coils. It will take at least 3 days to get it operational again." Alex nodded. "Understood. Do what you can, Chief." Communications Officer Daniel Wright suddenly straightened in his chair. "Captain, I'm picking up transmissions. Lots of them. Different frequencies, patterns I've never seen before." "Put it on audio." The bridge filled with strange sounds, clicks, whistles, and tones that seemed to follow patterns but made no sense to human ears. "Those are not natural phenomena," Julia said, scanning the nearby space. "Sir, I'm detecting multiple artificial structures in this system, large ones. And movement. Ships, sir. At least 30 vessels of various sizes moving in organized patterns. There, Captain, based on these energy readings, this is a highly advanced civilization." Alex returned to his chair. "Yellow alert. Raise shields but keep weapons powered down. Daniel, broadcast standard greeting messages on all frequencies. Let's not appear hostile." The ship's AI system, ARIA, spoke from the central console. "Captain, I have begun analyzing the transmission patterns. They appear to be using a standardized communication protocol. With sufficient samples, I may be able to establish basic translation parameters." "Do it," Alex ordered. "And everyone stay sharp. We're visitors here." Across the galaxy in a gleaming city that covered an entire moon, Grand Admiral Zix Ferry of the Galactic Concord received an urgent message. The blue-skinned alien's 4 eyes widened as he reviewed the data. "Verify this," he ordered his aide. "Already confirmed, Admiral. An unknown vessel has appeared in Sector 7G. It matches no design in our database." "Impossible. Our database contains every spacefaring race in the known galaxy." "Nevertheless, the ship is there. Initial scans show unknown alloys in its construction and energy signatures, suggesting significant weapons capabilities." Zix Ferry's upper eyes narrowed while his lower eyes focused on the data feed. "Send probes. Do not approach directly. And summon the Imperial Security Council immediately." 30 minutes later, Zix Ferry stood before the gathered council, a group of 12 beings representing the major species of the Concord. "An unknown vessel of military design has appeared in Sector 7G, he announced. "Its arrival was not detected by our sensor network until it was already present, suggesting a form of faster-than-light travel different from our own." Councillor Krell, a crystalline entity, chimed in alarm. "Sector 7G connects 3 of our primary trade routes. If this represents a new hostile power—" "We don't know what it represents," Zix Ferry replied. "That's what concerns me most. In 3,000 cycles, we have catalogued every intelligent species capable of achieving spaceflight. Yet this vessel belongs to none of them." As the council erupted in alarmed discussion, back on the U.S. Defiant, Captain Harrison was coming to a difficult realization. They weren't just lost in space. They had stumbled into someone else's territory, someone advanced, organized, and now very aware of their presence. Chief Engineer Olivia Martinez wiped sweat from her forehead as she examined the jump drive's main control unit. Wires and tools surrounded her in the engine room of the U.S. Defiant. The smell of burnt circuits filled the air. "This is worse than I thought," she said to her assistant, Great Howard. "The resonance cascade fried 3 of the primary coils. We need to rebuild them from scratch." Greg handed her a diagnostic tool. "How long will that take?" "At least 4 days, maybe more. And that's assuming we can replicate the materials we need." The ship's intercom came to life with Captain Harrison's voice. "Engineering, what's our status?" Olivia sighed. "Not good, Captain. The jump drive is badly damaged. We can make repairs, but it will take time." "Time might be something we don't have," Alex replied. "We're detecting multiple vessels moving toward our position. Keep working." Bridge out. On the bridge, Communications Officer Daniel Wright worked frantically at his console. "Captain, I'm broadcasting greetings in all formats we know. Audio, visual, mathematical sequences, even basic binary code. So far, no response we can understand." Alex nodded. "Keep trying. Araya, any progress on those transmissions?" The ship's AI responded. "I have identified recurring patterns that suggest standardized protocols. The complexity indicates an organized civilization with unified communication systems. I estimate 4 to 6 hours before I can establish basic translation parameters." "That might be too late," Lieutenant Commander Cooper said from Tactical. 3 vessels are approaching our position. Based on energy readings, they appear to be probes or small scout ships." Alex studied the tactical display. "Maintain defensive posture. Don't target them, but keep shields at 50%. "Captain," Julia Bennett called from her science station. "I'm getting detailed scans of the surrounding sector. There are artificial structures everywhere. Space stations, what appear to be shipyards, even what might be artificial habitats around several planets. We've stumbled into a heavily developed region." Alex made a decision. "Daniel, open a channel to the approaching vessels. Transmit visual images of Earth and our solar system. Let's show them where we come from." Meanwhile, in the Concord Security Council chambers, the emergency session had turned heated. The probe's initial data was displayed on massive holographic screens. "The vessel contains biological life forms," reported the chief science advisor, a tall insectoid being. "Their physiology matches no known species. We are tentatively classifying them as humans based on data transmissions we intercepted." General Krellfax, a heavily armored reptilian, slammed his fist on the table. "Their vessel appeared without warning in a secure sector. Their technology suggests weapons that could threaten even our destroyers. We must neutralize this threat immediately." Grand Admiral Zixveri raised all 4 of his hands for silence. "We know nothing of these beings or how they achieve this level of technology. Standard first contact protocols apply. Standard protocols assume gradual contact with primitive species we discover," Krellfax hissed. "Not unknown warships appearing in our territory." The chamber doors opened, and everyone fell silent as the Concord Emperor entered, the tall, slender being moved with grace despite his ancient age. "In 10,000 years, no species has achieved faster than light travel without our guidance," the Emperor said. His voice was soft, but carried throughout the chamber. Yet these humans appear to have done precisely that. More disturbing, our probes detect no quantum signature from their drive system, suggesting a completely different approach to FTL travel than our own. The Emperor turned to Zixveri. "Continue observation. Prepare diplomatic contact." But also, he looked at General Krellfax. "Position the 7th Fleet at the edge of the sector. If these humans prove hostile, I want them contained." Back on the Defiant, Captain Harrison watched as one of the alien probes approached closer than the others. "They're scanning us with increasing power," Cooper reported. "Let them," Alex replied. "Lower shields to minimum. Let's show them we're not afraid." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances as the alien probe moved to within 1 kilometer of their hull. The Concord Security Council chamber erupted in alarmed voices as the probe's data appeared on the main display. The holographic image showed the interior of the human vessel, revealing corridors filled with bipedal beings going about various tasks. "They allowed our probe to scan their ship," said Science Advisor Jevnar, her insectoid mandibles clicking in surprise. "Either they are very confident or very foolish." Grand Admiral Six Very studied the images carefully. "Or perhaps they wish to demonstrate peaceful intentions." General Kralfax snorted, a puff of steam escaping his nostrils. "A trick. They want us to lower our guard." The Emperor raised a slender hand for silence. "What have we learned about their technology?" Jevnar manipulated the display controls with her 4 upper limbs. "Their vessel's hull contains alloys we cannot identify. Their energy systems operate on principles that differ from our own. Most concerning is their weapons technology." The display shifted to show schematics of the Defiant's phaser banks and torpedo systems. "Based on our analysis, their offensive capabilities match our 4th-generation destroyer-class vessels." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And their propulsion system? That remains most puzzling," Jevnar admitted. "We detect no quantum signature typical of fold space drives. Their faster-than-light technology appears to operate on completely different principles than anything in our database." Counselor Krell's crystalline body hummed with agitation. "This violates all established understanding. No species has independently developed FTL capability in over 10,000 cycles. All spacefaring races receive the principles from us, after careful cultivation." The Emperor turned to Zixveri. "Your assessment, Admiral." Zixveri hesitated before speaking. "These humans represent an anomaly. Their appearance in a secure sector without using known transit gates suggests they come from beyond our mapped space. Perhaps even from beyond the void expanse." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The void expanse was a vast region of space, believed uninhabitable due to intense radiation storms that had persisted for millennia. "Impossible," General Kralfax growled. "Nothing survives the void." "Yet here they are," the Emperor said quietly. "A species we did not uplift, using technology we did not provide, appearing without warning in our most secure region." He turned to face the Council. "They represent a fundamental challenge to everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy." Back aboard the Defiant, Alex Harrison watched the alien probe complete its detailed scan of their ship. The small vessel, shaped like a flattened disk with extending sensor arrays, hovered less than a kilometer away. "They've been very thorough," Julia Bennett said from her science station. "Based on the scan patterns, they're particularly interested in our weapons systems and the jump drive." Alex nodded. "Not surprising. We'd do the same." He turned to Daniel Wright. "Any progress on communications?" "Nothing definitive yet, Captain. But ARIA has been processing their transmissions and believes she's identified patterns consistent with language." The ship's AI spoke up. "I have detected recurring patterns suggesting a standardized communication protocol. I estimate 2 more hours before I can establish basic translation parameters." Alex sighed. "Keep at it. We need to establish communication before." "Captain." Cooper called out urgently from tactical. "Multiple ships just appeared at the edge of our sensor range. Large vessels, heavily armed based on energy signatures." The main view screen shifted to show distant points of light that resolved into ships as the computer enhanced the image. The vessels were unlike anything the crew had seen before. Some resembled giant crystalline structures. Others looked like metallic spiders, and still others had no recognizable shape at all. "How many?" Alex asked, his voice calm despite the tension on the bridge. 23 vessels of varying sizes. Largest is approximately 3 times our mass. They're holding position at extreme range." Olivia's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, we've made some progress on the jump drive. I can give you maneuvering capability, but we're still days away from being able to jump home." Alex straightened in his chair. Understood, Chief. Do your best. He turned to his bridge crew. It seems we're about to receive a more formal welcome. Yellow alert. Shields at 60%. No targeting, but I want weapons systems ready. Let's be prepared but not provocative. In the Concorde fleet, Admiral Trelcor received his orders from Nexus Prime. Maintain distance. Do not engage unless the alien vessel makes hostile moves. The diplomatic ship Harmony has been dispatched with Ambassador Kinrel to establish first contact. Trelcor acknowledged the orders, but privately positioned his ships to create a containment formation. If these humans proved hostile, they would not escape. 48 hours passed in tense standoff. The Defiant remained stationary while the Concorde vessels maintained their distance. On the bridge, Communications Officer Daniel Wright had barely left his station, working with ARIA to decipher the alien transmissions. "Captain," Daniel called out, excitement in his voice. "ARIA reports a breakthrough." Alex Harrison, who had been reviewing repair reports, looked up. "Put it on, ARIA." The ship's AI spoke with a hint of satisfaction. "Captain, I have established basic translation parameters for their primary communication frequencies. They appear to use a standardized language despite evidence of multiple species in their social structure." Alex stood up. "Can we communicate with them now?" "Yes, though with limited accuracy. I estimate 70% comprehension at this stage." "Good work." Alex straightened his uniform. "Open a channel, Daniel. Let's introduce ourselves properly." The main view screen activated, showing a blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes. The being's upper eyes seemed to focus on data, while the lower pair watched Alex. "I am Captain Alexander Harrison of the United Earth ship Defiant," Alex said clearly. "We are explorers from Earth who arrived in your space due to a malfunction in our propulsion system. We mean no harm and seek peaceful contact." Araya translated his words, producing a series of tones and clicks. After a moment, the alien responded, and ARIA converted the sounds to English. "This is Grand Admiral Zix Veri of the Galactic Concorde. Your vessel has entered restricted space without authorization. You will power down all systems and prepare for boarding." Alex frowned. "I'm afraid that's not possible, Admiral. While we respect your authority in this region, we cannot surrender our ship. We are working to repair our drive system and will depart once repairs are complete." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Your cooperation is not optional. Your vessel represents unknown technology that threatens Concorde security." Science Officer Julia Bennett approached the captain. "Sir, I have a suggestion," she said quietly. Alex nodded for her to continue. "We could transmit technical data about our jump drive malfunction, along with star charts from our region. Show them both how we arrived accidentally, and that we come from a region of space unknown to them." "Good idea." Alex turned back to the screen. "Admiral, as a show of good faith, we're transmitting technical data explaining our presence here, along with star charts from our region of space. This should demonstrate that we arrived accidentally and come from beyond your known territory." Julia worked quickly at her station, preparing the data package. "Ready to transmit, Captain." "Send it." On Nexus Prime, the Concorde Council watched in growing alarm as the human data appeared on their displays. Star charts showed thousands of systems completely outside Concorde space, beyond the void expanse that had always marked the boundary of what they considered the inhabitable galaxy. "Impossible," Counselor Krell hummed. "Our long-range surveys indicate nothing but deadly radiation storms beyond the void." Admiral Zix Veri studied the charts carefully. Yet these maps show hundreds of habitable worlds, multiple species existing in alliance, and established trade routes, all beyond the expanse. The Emperor held up the small device containing the humans' technical data. "Their propulsion technology uses principles we have never explored. Rather than folding space as our drives do, they create a temporary tunnel through subspace." General Krell snorted. "Lies and deception. There cannot be a developed civilization beyond our knowledge. Yet the evidence suggests otherwise. Zixberry replied. And if true, it changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy. The Emperor made a decision. Dispatch Ambassador Kinroll on the Harmony immediately. I want direct contact with these humans. And, he paused, inform the 7th Fleet to maintain distance, but prepare contingencies. If these humans prove hostile or deceptive, I want options. Back on the Defiant, Captain Harrison received word from Engineer Martinez. Captain, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we've identified the problem with the jump drive. The bad news is fixing it will require materials we don't have. Alex sighed. Keep working on alternatives, Chief. He turned to his first officer. It seems we need to establish good relations with our new neighbors. Our way home may depend on it. Captain, Cooper called from Tactical. One of the alien vessels is breaking formation and approaching slowly. It's smaller than the others, with minimal weapon signatures. Alex nodded. Looks like they want to talk. Let's hope they're in a friendly mood. 3 days into the standoff, the diplomatic vessel Harmony approached the Defiant. The alien ship looked different from the military vessels keeping their distance. Its hull gleamed with symbols and had none of the obvious weapon mounts visible on the other ships. Captain, Cooper reported from Tactical. The approaching vessel is transmitting a message. AI is translating now. The ship's AI spoke. The message identifies the vessel as Harmony, a diplomatic ship of the Galactic Concord. Ambassador Kinroll requests a face-to-face meeting with you, Captain. Alex considered this. Where do they propose we meet? They suggest a neutral location, a small uninhabited moon in this system. That seems reasonable. Alex turned to his first officer. I'll need a small team. Suggestions. Communications Officer Reich should come to help with translation. Science Officer Bennett for her technical knowledge. And Security Chief Rodriguez for protection. Alex nodded. Agreed. Prepare the shuttle. We depart in 1 hour. The small moon had a thin atmosphere that required breathing masks, but otherwise supported life. Alex and his team waited near their shuttle as the alien craft landed 100 meters away. The Harmony was sleek and beautiful up close, its hull shifting colors in the pale sunlight. 6 beings emerged from the ship, each completely different from the others. One floated above the ground, another moved on multiple legs, and the tallest one glowed with soft light. The glowing being approached and spoke through a device at its chest. I am Ambassador Kinroll of the Galactic Concord. I represent the combined civilizations of this region of space. The translator produced precise English. Your arrival has created significant concern within the Concord. You represent an unknown variable in a carefully balanced equation. Alex stepped forward. I am Captain Alexander Harrison of Earth. We represent the United Earth Alliance, a cooperative of planets in our region of space. Our arrival here was accidental due to a malfunction in our jump drive. The ambassador's upper limbs moved in what might have been a gesture of acknowledgement. Your technical data has been studied by our scientists. It confirms your explanation but raises more questions than it answers. What questions can we help with? You claim to have independently developed technologies that our combined civilizations took millennia to perfect. This is difficult to accept. Julia Bennett stepped forward. Ambassador, Earth and its allies developed spaceflight over several centuries. Our first primitive rockets were launched less than 300 years ago. Our current technology represents many generations of scientific advancement. The ambassador's glowing body pulsed slightly. Such a rate of development is unprecedented. The Concord carefully guides the technological growth of emerging species to prevent dangerous acceleration. Alex raised an eyebrow. You control how other species develop. We provide guidance. Uncontrolled technological growth often leads to self-destruction or dangerous aggression. Daniel Wright spoke up. Earth went through periods of conflict, but we survived and learned from our mistakes. Our diversity of thought and approach has accelerated our development. Different nations and cultures approached problems from different angles. The ambassador conferred briefly with the spider-like being beside him. Fascinating. Our records show no similar pattern of development among any known species. Alex decided to be direct. Ambassador, we need your help. Our jump drive requires materials we don't have to complete repairs. We wish to return home, but cannot do so without assistance. The ambassador's glow brightened slightly. This presents an opportunity. The Concord Council wishes to learn more about your civilization beyond the void expanse. In exchange for technical assistance, we request detailed information about your region of space and your technologies. Alex glanced at his team. That seems reasonable, with certain limitations. We cannot share military technology, but scientific and cultural exchange would benefit both our peoples. Acceptable, the ambassador replied. There is something else. Your vessel's appearance has created significant political tension within the Concord. Some factions view your existence as a threat to our understanding of the galaxy. Kate Rodriguez, who had remained silent but vigilant, stepped closer to her captain. Are we in danger, Ambassador? Not from me or those who seek peace, but I must warn you that not all within the Concord share my diplomatic approach. The Emperor has authorized this meeting, but military elements remain concerned. Alex nodded solemnly. Then we should work quickly to establish trust. When can we begin exchanging information and obtaining the materials we need? Back on Nexus Prime, Director Eshvan of the Intelligence Division presented his findings to the Emperor in a private chamber. The tall, gray-skinned alien placed a data crystal on the table between them. Your Imperial Majesty, we have completed our assessment of the human vessel and the data they transmitted, Eshvan said, his voice low and measured. Our conclusions are disturbing. The Emperor activated the crystal, and holographic displays filled the air around them. Explain. The humans' technological development curve is unprecedented in our records. If their historical data is accurate, they've compressed 2,000 years of advancement into less than 5 centuries. Eshvan manipulated the display to show a graph with a sharply rising curve. Most species we've encountered take at least 3,000 years to progress from basic atomic theory to viable space travel. Humans did it in just under 300. The Emperor studied the displays silently for a moment. And your assessment of this anomaly? Their adaptability is remarkable. They seem to thrive on challenges and obstacles rather than being deterred by them. Their social organization encourages competition alongside cooperation. Different human groups develop different solutions to the same problems, then shared and improved upon each other's work. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. And the threat assessment? Eshvan hesitated before answering. The humans represent both an opportunity and a danger. Their ship's specifications suggest they've solved engineering challenges our scientists have struggled with for generations. Their approach to faster-than-light travel is entirely different from ours, yet achieves similar results. But unchecked, a species with this rate of adaptation and technological growth could potentially match or exceed Concord capabilities within centuries rather than millennia. They are few now, but if their expansion rate matches their development rate. The Emperor understood the unspoken warning. Your recommendation? We should obtain as much of their knowledge as possible while maintaining strict control over what we share in return. Their jump drive technology alone could revolutionize our transport systems. Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant, engineer Olivia Martinez made a troubling discovery while working with ARIA to analyze the Concord transmissions. Captain, she called over the intercom, I need to see you in engineering immediately. When Alex arrived, Olivia was hunched over a computer display, her face tense with concern. What have you found? Alex asked. I've been monitoring Concord transmissions with ARIA's help. They're sharing everything they learn about us instantly between their vessels. She pointed to the display. But there's something else. Encrypted transmissions suggesting military vessels moving into position around us. Alex frowned. You're saying they're playing us. The diplomatic mission is a distraction. I can't be certain, but the communication patterns suggest preparation for possible action. They've positioned ships in a containment pattern that would make escape difficult, even if our jump drive was operational. And it's not, Alex said grimly. Araya spoke up from the nearby console. Captain, I've been analyzing the data exchanges during your meeting with Ambassador Kinral. The Concord representatives were scanning you continuously, with particular focus on your neural activity. They were scanning our brains. Yes, Captain. Based on the data they collected, I believe they are most interested in human cognitive patterns. Their scans focused on your problem-solving centers during discussions of technology. Alex paced the small space, so they're interested in how we think, not just what we know. Olivia nodded, which suggests they see something unique in human cognition. Alex made a decision. Continue repairs as best you can. In the meantime, I want full analysis of all the data we've collected on Concord technology. If they're studying us, we should be studying them as well. He tapped his communicator. Bridge, this is the captain. Contact the Harmony. Tell Ambassador Kinral I'd like another meeting, this time aboard the Defiant. Let's see how they respond to an invitation to our territory. As Alex left engineering, Olivia turned back to her work, but her mind was troubled. The Concorde seemed peaceful on the surface, but their actions suggested caution if not outright deception. The question was whether they saw humans as potential allies or as a threat to be contained. Or worse, during the second diplomatic meeting, Science Officer Julia Bennett noticed something strange about the archaeological data the Concorde had shared. She spent hours analyzing it alongside ARIA, searching for patterns that might explain the Concorde's advanced technology and extensive territory. Captain, I need to speak with you privately, Julia said when Alex returned from his latest meeting with Ambassador Kinral. In his ready room, Julia displayed her findings on the wall screen. There are inconsistencies in their historical timeline. Sir, look here. She pointed to a graph showing technological development across thousands of years. There are several periods where technology seems to jump forward suddenly, without the expected gradual progression. Alex studied the display. What are you suggesting? Working with ARIA, I've made a startling discovery. Julia took a deep breath. Captain, according to these records, the Concorde didn't evolve naturally. They were uplifted, given technology by some other race. ARIA added, I've identified gaps in their historical records, suggesting periods of technological regression following these advancement spikes. It appears they received technology they didn't fully understand, lost portions of it, then slowly redeveloped it. Alex sat down slowly. This changes everything. If they didn't develop their technology themselves, it means they may not understand it as well as they claim, Julia finished. And there's more. The earliest records mention beings they call the progenitors who gave them their initial technological foundation. Alex's eyes narrowed. This could explain their reaction to us. If they're used to controlling technological development of other species, meeting humans who advanced independently must be shocking. And threatening, Julia added. We represent something outside their experience and control. Alex made a decision. I'm going to use this in our next negotiation. Good work, both of you. The following day, Ambassador Kinral and two advisors boarded the Defiant. The meeting took place in the ship's conference room, with Alex, Julia, Daniel, and Security Chief Kate Rodriguez representing Earth. After discussing materials needed for the jump drive repairs, Alex decided to take his calculated risk. Ambassador, we've reviewed your historical data. He spoke carefully, watching the aliens' reactions. You weren't always the dominant power here, were you? Something came before, something that gave you your initial technology. The ambassador's translator went silent for several moments. His luminous body dimmed slightly, then brightened. Finally, he responded. The progenitors gifted us with the foundations of our civilization 12,000 years ago, then vanished. We have spent millennia trying to fully understand their legacy. Alex leaned forward. What if humans are also inheritors of progenitor knowledge, but developed along a different path? Our neural structure, our adaptability, they could be the result of progenitor influence in our distant past. This suggestion created visible agitation among the ambassador's team. The spider-like being clicked rapidly in its own language, while the third alien, a blue-skinned entity with 4 arms, moved backward in apparent alarm. "This is an unexpected theory," Kinroll said finally. "It would explain much about your species' unusual development pattern." "Consider this," Alex continued. "The void expanse that separates our regions of space. What if it wasn't natural? What if it was created to keep different experiments separate? Your civilization developed through direct technological gifts. Ours developed through enhanced cognitive capability and adaptability." Ambassador Kinroll's glow pulsed rapidly. "I must consult with the Council immediately." He rose, his light dimming. This possibility must be evaluated at the highest levels. After the ambassador and his team departed in obvious haste, Daniel turned to Alex. "Do you really believe what you suggested, Captain? That we might be some ancient alien science experiment?" Alex shook his head. "I don't know, but it gave them something to think about besides seeing us as a threat. And if it gets us the materials we need to go home, that's what matters." On the ambassador's ship returning to Nexus Prime, Kinroll composed an urgent message to the Emperor. The humans had inadvertently proposed a theory that many had considered but few dared speak aloud, that the progenitors had created multiple civilizations with different strengths, separated by the void expanse. If true, it changed the entire foundation of Concord society. The Concord Emperor called an extraordinary session of not just the Security Council, but the full governing assembly. The massive chamber on Nexus Prime, filled with representatives of all major species in Concord space. The news about the human theory had spread quickly, causing debate and concern throughout the government. Ambassador Kinroll stood before the assembly, his luminous body glowing brightly as he spoke. "The humans suggest that they might be another progenitor experiment, one that developed independently beyond the void expanse. This changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the galaxy." The chamber erupted in voices. Some demanded the humans be contained or eliminated as a threat. Others called for extensive research and cooperation. The Emperor raised his hand for silence. "This possibility has been considered by some of our scholars for generations, though rarely discussed openly. If true, it means the progenitors created at least 2 different civilizations with different approaches. The Concord was given technology directly, while humans were given the mental capacity to develop it themselves. After hours of heated debate, a decision was reached. The Defiant would be allowed to return to Earth with Concord representatives to establish formal diplomatic relations. In exchange, humans would share their unique technological innovations, particularly their approach to FTL travel, which differed fundamentally from Concord methods. Back on the Defiant, Captain Harrison received the Concord's proposal with cautious optimism. "They're being very generous suddenly," he commented to his officers in the conference room. "Too generous," Security Chief Kate Rodriguez said. "I don't trust this change of heart." Alex nodded. "Neither do I. That's why I want to negotiate additional terms." He turned to Julia Bennett. "What would you recommend?" "A neutral zone established between human and Concord space," she suggested, "and technical assistance repairing our jump drive rather than just materials." "Good ideas." Alex looked around the table. "Any others?" "Request direct access to their historical archives," Daniel Wright suggested. "If we're going to understand our place in this larger picture, we need to know everything about the progenitors." 3 days later, as the Defiant's repairs neared completion with Concord assistance, Captain Harrison had a private conversation with Ambassador Kinroll in his ready room. "There's something you're still not telling us about these progenitors, isn't there?" Alex asked directly. The ambassador's glow dimmed slightly before he answered. "Your perception is remarkable, Captain Harrison." His translator paused before continuing. "The progenitors didn't merely vanish. According to our oldest records, they fled from something. Alex leaned forward. Fled from what? We don't know. The records are fragmented, damaged by time. But they speak of a great darkness that the progenitors could not defeat. The ambassador's light pulsed gently. Perhaps what they feared lies beyond your region of space. Perhaps that is why they positioned your species so far from the rest of their experiments, beyond the void expanse. Alex considered this troubling information. And you think this ancient enemy might still exist? The progenitors were far more advanced than either of our civilizations. If something drove them to flee, the ambassador left the implication hanging. As the Defiant prepared to jump home the next day, carrying news that would forever change humanity's understanding of its place in the universe, Alex stood alone on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Chief Engineer Olivia Martinez joined him. "Jump drive is ready, Captain. We can go home." "Good work, Chief. Do you really believe what you told them about humans being part of some ancient alien experiment?" Alex smiled slightly. "I'm not sure, but I do find it interesting that our experimental jump drive malfunctioned in exactly the right way to bring us here. You think our meeting the Concorde wasn't an accident? I think very few things truly are." Alex turned from the window. "Set coordinates for Earth. It's time to bring this news home." The coordinates were set. The jump drive powered up. The U.S. Defiant disappeared in a flash of light, leaving behind a galactic Concorde forever changed by the knowledge that they were not alone in the progenitors' grand design, and that perhaps, together with these adaptable humans, they might finally be ready to face whatever had caused their creators to flee into the darkness between galaxies.